This is the Surly Grognards for the 16th of January 2017. This is Peter Bowman, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Eric Carlson. How are you doing tonight, Eric?
I'm doing all right.
Most excellent. So we don't have a particular topic for this week, partially because neither Eric or I can be arsed to come up with one.
Yeah, we're lazy.
Yeah. Also, it just felt like we haven't done a sort of an episode where we just sort of talk about stuff in a while, and I figured that couldn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it probably could hurt if we tried really hard to make it hurt.
Well, sure. I mean, if we actually try, yeah.
uh,
So
I will say,
Go ahead, Eric.
one thing. I watched Batman versus Superman over the weekend
Why did you do that, Eric?
because it was free,
Uh-huh.
and it had nothing else to do at the moment for that period of time. I will say this: it is certainly affecting, and I am still trying to go really in my head.
Huh. Go figure.
It's not as bad as the internet would have you believe. It's still really bad. Like, the degree of idiot ball required from what are supposed to be intelligent people. I mean, I'm going to assume Batman's supposed to be intelligent. He's Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the degree he has to carry the idiot ball, plus the psychopath ball, plus the paranoid ball, all at the same time.
Well, to be fair, a lot of Batman over the years has carried the paranoid ball.
Yeah. But this is a special kind of psychopathic idiot ball where it's like, if there's even a 1% chance that he could be a bad guy, then that we have to take that as an absolute certainty and murder the Kryptonian, because that's the only thing I know how to do is murder.
Are we sure this is Batman? This is Batman, and not actually the Punisher.
Well, that's the thing. It was pretty much the Punisher with war toys and a silly costume.
Fair, the Punisher's costume's kind of silly.
Sillier costume.
That's a fair point. I will grant the Batman costume is sillier than the Punisher's costume, but not by a lot. The giant white skull on his chest.
No way, that's totally hardcore and badass. Yeah, I know.
You would have to see me looking at you to know what the look I had on my face.
It's just, I mean, Ben Affleck knocks it out of the park for the material he's given. He really tries to sell it, but it's a bad version of Batman.
Yeah. Okay.
He gets manipulated by the dumbest Luthor I've ever seen into trying to murder the sad sack Kryptonian. And let's face facts. So Superman is basically just a guilt-ridden sad sack for the entire movie.
Well, he did kind of blow up Metropolis in the previous movie.
Sure.
Correction. He utterly failed to save anybody's life and murdered like one of the last Kryptonians he knew of existing. To be fair, from what I understand, Zod is an ass. If it's Zod. I mean,
it's Zod. Zod's an asshole. It was Zod. He's an asshole. I mean, it's Superman. He probably shouldn't have killed him. I mean, from if one has any understanding of the character of Superman, then he didn't have to kill Super Zod. He could have just carried him into space instead of snapping his neck. But that's a different movie.
Yeah. And Duani in the chat brings this up, and this is actually a really good point, which is, when did we stop emphasizing the man in Superman and shift to the super part only? Was it after a lot of people took Bill's speech from Kill Bill to heart?
Yeah, no shit.
Utterly missing the fact that Bill is a psychopath?
Yes, and part of the point of that speech is that Bill's completely missing the point. It's not that Superman looks down on people, is that he wants to be them. He wants to, seriously, he becomes Clark Kent not because he looks down on them, because he's but because he sees this wellspring of strength in being just a guy who's not necessarily good at anything but tries his hardest. And he wants to be that.
Right. And Duani also brings the point that Superman was actually created on this date today in 1939. So
Holy
today's
shit!
Superman's birthday, I guess.
Happy birthday, Superman! And
So
yes,
this is a germane
he was
topic.
always Clark Kent. I mean, the persona of Clark Kent, the bungling reporter version of Clark Kent.
But Clark Kent's not even a bungling reporter. He's a competent reporter.
That's true.
That's the thing is he's his persona when he's Clark Kent he is a competent, skilled, smart, charming guy. He's a little nebbishy, but
A lot nebbishy. Let's face facts.
I mean he's a farm boy.
Yeah.
He grew up on a farm in Kansas.
Yeah, and he's probably the whitest white boy that was ever white. Like seriously, he's like the stereotypical white boy.
See,
he does the white man shuffle. I'm convinced that's how he dances. He does the white boy shuffle.
He probably line dances, Eric. Let's be honest. He's come on.
I don't think he has the coordination to line dance.
Well, he very manifestly does, but he probably suppresses it some. But at any rate, yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I've become more fond of Superman over the years than I used to find him. I used to not like Superman. I was never a big fan.
It's true. Same here. I used to not enjoy Superman at all, and over the years, as I like, the returning point for me was reading All-Star Superman. I was like, this is really good. Superman's kind of amazing. Why don't more people do this kind of stuff with Superman?
Right, and I mean, I had a turning point in both Superman and Captain America at about the same time. I've come to really like both characters.
For me with Captain America, it took the Marvel movie. Not gonna lie. Right, like I was late on the Captain America bandwagon. I needed to see the movie.
That's fair. No, I'd seen I'd seen a bunch of stuff where I was like, okay, I started getting the appeal of Cap about the same time that I started actually kind of liking Superman, and then the whole sort of and I used to be the classic Batman versus Superman which do you like better thing. I was always a Batman guy for a long time.
Yep.
And then I've started not liking Batman as much.
This thing, I still really like Batman when he's fucking Batman. And not lunatic murder billionaire. Because that's what he is in Man of Steel. He's lunatic murder billionaire. And don't even get me started on fucking Jesse Eisenberg's fucking shitstorm of a Luthor.
I haven't even seen this movie yet. It's the best part.
Like Jesse Eisenberg is basically playing Mark Zuckerberg from the Social Network. If he was 14 years old and had just finished reading the Fountainhead.
So you mean it was a movie directed by Zack Snyder?
Yeah. Except replace all of the Ayn Rand quotes with like half-baked maltheistic noodlings.
Right. I mean, and I mean, I can appreciate wanting to do something different with the character. I appreciate.
Sure,
I can appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And that's fine.
But I expect Lex Luthor is a character that requires a certain degree of dignity for me to take him seriously.
Right.
Like, he needs to hold himself with a certain degree of poise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, he's just some little asshole.
Well, that's the thing. Luthor is. Luthor should not. I mean, I can see Luthor as being somewhat Randian. I mean, that's.
Oh, absolutely. I could totally see him as being a Malthus too. That all makes sense.
Sure.
In fact, especially given like how much he hates Superman, because Superman is sort of the epitome of the opposite of both of these things.
Well, I mean, the thing is like Luthor is in many ways. I would say he's less a devotee of Rand or Malthuism, but he's I've forgotten his name all of a sudden. Nietzsche.
Yes.
He very much embodies a lot of Nietzsche's sort of ethos. but there's definitely a Randian element to him also. Um, and that is so starkly in contrast to Superman to Superman's very humanist viewpoint.
Yes.
I mean, Superman is very definitively like when Superman's written well, he's a humanist.
Yeah, Superman's all about using his gifts to empower other people to use theirs.
Right.
And he's like, yes, I have all of this strength and power, and I feel it is my responsibility to make sure that to lift you up so you have the opportunity to use yours.
Right.
And that's so anti-Nietzschean
Yes.
and anti-Randian.
It's so optimistic.
Yes. And that's the thing. All-Star Superman, the comic book with who wrote that? I forget who, but it was Frank Quietly that drew it. And like it gives you Luther's thesis right there. It's like we are human beings. We strive to be the best at everything. I strive to be the best at everything. And there's Superman laughing at me with his natural born gifts and using them to help others. No, it's only worth anything if you only ever do it yourself by yourself. And he mocks us with his superiority, his unearned superiority. And it's like, damn, that's an excellent reading of Luther. That is from now on my default reading of Luther. That is the way to do it. It's
Sure.
a great motivation for the character and why he hates them.
Oh, it explains entirely why he hates Superman and why he would hate Batman also.
Yes.
Because I mean, Bats is again, Batman when he's written really well is a wonderful mass of contradictions.
Yes.
Because he is simultaneously pessimistic and optimistic.
Yes.
It's really it's one of the things I love about Batman when he's done right, because he's very brooding and dark, and he's a vigilante at heart, but
Yes. He's all about bringing about justice and obeying the law. At the same time, he breaks the law and transgresses against justice in order to enforce these ideals.
yeah,
And he's perfectly aware of it.
Yeah, well, yeah,
He's
but
aware of the contrast.
yeah, but the other there's also that sort of the other aspect of that. There's the part of it is he genuinely there's this the reasons he doesn't kill. It's not just he doesn't want to cross. It's not just that he doesn't want to cross the line and become what he hates and become a monster. I mean, that's part of it, obviously, and that's
Yes.
the pessimistic side of him. But there's also a small sort of optimistic side of him that there's a chance that these people could theoretically maybe be helped in Arkham. There's psychologists that
Yes.
could theoretically possibly help them. They probably won't, but you have to give them that chance.
And that's why he hasn't killed the Joker. He's said as much in when he's written well. It's like, even I have to believe even the Joker can be redeemed. Otherwise, there's no point in anything I'm doing.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I absolutely adore about Batman when he's done well.
Yes.
It's what leads to things like in Justice League Unlimited, the whole bit in the epilogue episode where the flashback from the Batman Beyond era,
Right,
where,
right.
where he goes off to deal with Ace.
Yes. I still tear up when I see that. That was beautifully done.
It's amazing. I mean, honestly, if you're not moved by that bit, your heart's made of stone.
Then you are
man.
dead inside.
Your heart is made of fucking stone, man.
Yeah. Like, and that's a testament to Bruce Timm in the DC animated universe.
Oh, God,
is
yes.
that they have become the default version of the DC universe for me. Because of moments like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. They get that. Like, honestly, Tim Tim and the writing staff for the Justice League era stuff, and going all the way back to Batman the Animated Series and the Superman cartoon, and then the Batman and Superman show, etc. they
And
they
even
get those
even
two.
Static Shock, which I know I talked shit about in the past, but I actually went back and watched it. It's much better than I remembered.
Static Shock's actually good. It's really good.
Yeah, no, I talked shit about it like years ago on the show, and I was like, right back and rewatched a bunch. I was like, this is a lot better than I remembered. Why did I not like this?
Well, I mean, it's probably the weakest in terms of the animation quality of any of that era
That's
stuff.
probably why. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. There was a period in time where I could not separate animation quality from anything else.
I mean, it's not bad animation, but dear lord, it's weak. It's the weakest of the bunch.
Easily.
Oh boy, but yeah, just I. So this is all why I've become so frustrated with the sort of the direction Batman people have taken Batman over the past decade or so.
Right.
Like I mean,
Well, there's Batman the Brave and the Bold, which is great if you haven't seen it, Peter.
I've
Like, I
seen
think
some of it,
really...
and it goes a little bit too far in the other direction for me.
I can understand that.
It goes a little bit too far towards Adam West's Batman,
Fair enough.
which I can appreciate. And I'm not saying Brave and the Bold's a bad show. It's not. It's a fun show, and I enjoy it. But I think I enjoy it more for the other characters who show up in it than for Batman himself.
Yes, well, that's because Batman is largely like... Batman is in that movie as the connective tissue to get you to other characters in the DC universe.
Right. Like, I adore what they do with Aquaman in that.
Oh, yeah, Aquaman's great. Like, best version of Aquaman out there. Seriously.
I mean, Aquaman was a little too dour in Justice League.
Yeah, he's a little too dour. I'm super serial. I'm rebelling against the Super Friends Aquaman.
Which I can appreciate because, dear Lord,
Yes.
Super Friends did a horrible injustice to that poor man.
Which he's still paying for to this day. And, yeah, part of what they did in Justice League was they had to go that far with Aquaman to wash off the stink of the Super Friends.
I mean, I really do appreciate, like, it honestly can almost all be tied to Sean Baby's takedown of the Super Friends thing. Sean Baby's an internet. If you haven't read the whole,
Sean Baby's hilarious.
Oh, a lot of his stuff's great, and the whole sort of Aquaman sucks sort of meme basically started with him. This is like 20 years ago at this point, I think.
Yeah,
and it was a brilliant sort of takedown, pointing out exactly how badly Aquaman sucks in Super Friends. But that was the point. It was Aquaman sucks in Super Friends.
right. Well, the thing, he's actually gone back and said, like, have you read Aquaman comics? He fights Cthulhu on a weekly basis.
Yeah. Aquaman's a bad man.
Aquaman is a badass motherfucker.
Yeah, his costume during that era was silly, but so was everybody's.
Batman wore a rainbow suit because he was fighting Crazy Quilt from that exact same era.
Have you looked at Superman's costume?
Yes.
I've come to adore the costume, but it's silly. Like, God help me, Spider-Man is one of my all-time favorite superheroes. Oh my God, his costume is dumb.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, the dumbest Superman costume is still the like 2 Electro mullet wearing Superman.
Well, yeah, that's from after Rebirth of Superman,
Yeah.
which was.
After he was dead for a while.
Oh, the death and
Still
Rebirth
don't
of
understand
Superman.
how you ended up with friggin' like 2 electric Superman. But hey.
Because they were trying something weird and different, and I can respect that. As a fan of,
Sure.
as someone who's actually sort of a fan of Silver Age comics in general, just because of the sheer bizarre, weird bullshit that happened, that was such a Silver Age thing to do.
It was, but they stretched it on for too long, honestly.
Well, and also it was missing that sort of sense of just sheer absurdity that it should have had.
Yeah, the sheer unabashed, this is fucking stupid, let's do it. and which characterizes a lot of the Silver Age. And
Oh God, yeah.
the Silver Age, that would have been a one-shot. Not
Oh God, yeah,
years.
absolutely. It would have completely been a one-shot. It would have been resolved at the end, and Superman would have been back to, quote, normal, end quote.
Right. He would have been back to status quo.
so they can set up whatever batshit insane thing they want to do next time. But yeah, oh my god. But yeah, I so like Batman. It's so interesting how it's almost impossible to talk about Superman without talking about Batman.
Yeah. Oh, they become sort of linked as complementary in the public consciousness. Like they're at once opposites and complement one. They're very much yin and yang.
Yeah, and yeah, and I think Duwani in the chat mentioned that it's sort of this frustrating thing. People seem to be there. Are a lot of people seem to think that the two of them should hate each other, which is like no.
Oh no! They see greatness in one another. They each see what they could never be and respect in one another.
Yeah, they're different, but dear Lord, the level of respect and admiration they have for each other when it's
Yeah.
done right, it's yeah. They find each other frustrating at times.
Oh sure, and they're like those. They're like that couple that constantly argues in public, but are always together
Right.
and clearly love each other.
The thing I find interesting about that is the conversation about the link of Batman and Superman is how it's sort of unfortunate that the third part of the the DC triumvirate just sort of falls out of that conversation
Yes.
because Wonder Woman is
Because
so
Wonder
fucking
Woman's awesome
awesome.
when she's done right. That's another problem with that movie. You know what Wonder Woman does? She wears a sexy dress in one scene and steals Batman's flash drive. Doesn't really steal it so much as sort of walk off with it, sashaying in a sexy dress. Now, Gal Gadot is very pretty, so I'm like, okay, cool. Clearly they're doing something interesting with her. Next time we see her, she's in a sexy dress at another function. Okay, she gives back Batman his flash drive. That's the extent of it. Okay. Well, that's okay. Clearly they're building up to something. Then she watches a trailer in the middle of the movie. Literally, she just watches like 4 video clips that like could be spliced together into a bad trailer.
Okay.
And then Doomsday shows up, and someone needs to save Batman from Doomsday, so she does.
Okay.
No build up to the costume. She has like maybe 4 lines. It's like, "Hi, I'm here to help you. I have a sword and a shield because I'm Wonder Woman. Check out this kick-ass rock version of the classic Wonder Woman riff." Which was pretty kick-ass, not gonna lie. And they fight Doomsday, the most boring Superman villain.
Doomsday is not a villain. Doomsday is a plot device. No, seriously. That's one of the things that drives me batty about the death of Superman is like Doomsday's Superman's greatest villain ever. No. Doomsday is just a force of nature. He's not a character.
I maintain Luthor is Batman's greatest villain ever.
Well, that's the thing is, of
Or
course,
Superman's, yes.
well, I mean, most people agree with that. But that's because Doomsday is the biggest threat to Superman ever so far. Because he actually kills Superman. But like,
I still disagree. That would be Darkseid, because Darkseid's actually smart.
Again, I'm not disagreeing with you. And again, I think
Darkseid
most people, if
just
they
doesn't want to kill Superman because he's got a use for that motherfucker.
and again, it's one of those classic. It's one of those classic. This is I'm going to talk about sort of how it's presented in Death of Superman.
Okay, fair enough.
And Death of Superman is a. By the way, the Death of Superman is just bad. It's not good.
There's a video of I can't remember the guy's
Max
name.
Landis.
Basically, him with like a scotch in one hand, drunkenly ranting, while his friends, half of which are Hollywood stars, reenact it in like dime store costumes in the background, and it's hilarious and 100% accurate.
I think he did on Pro Wrestling are basically
Yes.
Max Landis' best things, and he's like a
That's
well-known
his
movie
name,
director.
yes.
I'm not a fan of Max Landis in general, but those two things are brilliant.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought badly of Death of Superman for a long time. Like ever since I like reread it the first time, I'm like, because my brother had a graphic novel compilation of it, and I reread it at one point, and I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. The writing is bad. The art's not very good. The plot is just fucking the plot as it is, such as it is, and
Well,
the fight is, and the fight is boring.
It's everything wrong with 90s comic books.
Oh. No, it didn't have Superman pulling out guns and shooting Doomsday. I mean, that's
Okay, fair enough.
that's about as far as that would have made it worse. But literally, Superman, Mr. Okay, I'm incredibly fast. I have like, super freeze breath. I've got laser eye beams. I
I
can
have this
fly.
giant toolbox.
What does the fight between Doomsday and Superman come down to? I'm gonna punch him, and then I'm gonna punch him, and then I'm gonna punch him some more, and then I'm gonna punch him so hard, and he's gonna punch me so hard that we both fall down and die.
Oh my god, the fight between Batman and Superman in that movie. The actual fight. Ugh. So Batman calls out Superman because he's got his kick-ass Batman power armor from the Dark Knight Returns. And he calls him out. And Luthor has manipulated things so that Batman wants to kill Superman because reasons that I'm not sure of. And he's kidnapped Martha Clark to threaten Superman because he knows his secret identity. Martha Kent, thank you. For some reason, he knows everyone. He knows everything about everyone for some reason. So you have to go kill Batman and bring me his head so that I can prove that you're a bad guy. Because I hate God, or maybe I don't hate God because of daddy issues, or maybe it's both, or maybe I want to be God, maybe I want to make God. I don't know. Just go kill Batman.
All right.
So Superman shows up and he's like, Bats, you have to help me. And, Bats doesn't listen and, like, sets off some traps and there's a fight. And I'm expecting Bruce Timm has spoiled me because I'm expecting the fight to be Superman constantly trying to reason with Bruce as Bruce doesn't listen because he's got Luthor head brain thing going on. And it's not actually a head brain thing. It's just Luthor sent some checks with stuff written on them to him.
Also, apparently Batman has caught the idiot ball.
Yes, Batman is currently wearing the idiot ball. He's not carrying it; he is wearing it.
Got it. Okay.
And no, what happens is he makes a token attempt to reason with Superman, and then he just goes all out, laser eye beams, and Batman using like kryptonite gas grenades, and it's a full on knockout, drag out brawl with both sides trying to kill each other. I'm like, oh, come on, guys. This isn't how to write this. This isn't how to do this. Batman wins, of course, because he has to win, because Zack Snyder has a giant fucking hard-on for Batman.
Yep. As is Goyer.
Yeah, and it ends with, like, Superman literally, like arms spread out on the ground, like Batman shoving a kryptonite, ready to shove a kryptonite spear through his chest, and Superman going, "Please save Martha!" Who refers to their mother by their first name. And then Lois Lane shows up out of nowhere. To be fair, they did show a scene of her catching a helicopter to Gotham, but how does she know where the fight is? How does she know that the fight? She knows where it started because Batman had the bat signal. How does she know it's now like 6 blocks away because they've been beating the fuck out of each other all over the place? I don't know. Well, but she's there. She's there just in time to go, it's his mom. And that's what ends the fight.
I see.
It's terrible. Like, and scenes with unnecessary shaky cam. Like, why do you have shaky cam? And why are there so many dream sequences? What? Like, Batman has 2, Wonder Woman has 1, no, not Wonder Woman, Lois Lane has 1, Superman has 2, and I'm pretty sure Lex Luthor has 1 in there somewhere. The only one that doesn't is fucking Wonder Woman, because all she does is show up in a pretty dress and stab Doomsday.
All right.
Yeah, it was a bad movie.
This was a bad movie, is what you're saying.
This is a bad movie, but it's exactly the right kind of bad movie, because I'm still thinking about it and talking about it. This is a bad movie to watch drunkenly with your friends.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So screw that movie then, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Lex Luthor is such a bad villain in that. Like, I'm sorry, Alexander Luthor, not Lex. They make a point of pointing out that it's not Lex, and
Fine,
it's
but
just
fine, whatever. Sure, go with it. I
and
just I
there's so much show don't tell with everyone involved, or rather the opposite. Like, we're told Batman's a great detective, but we don't see him doing any detecting. In fact, he gets manipulated into jumping to wrong conclusions. When if he was such a great detective, he would have been able to figure it out. And we're told about Superman being this symbol of hope, but all we see are governments being angry that Superman exists and Lex Luthor talking shit about him. And they we're told Lex Luthor is this super smart evil guy. Okay, we see him be evil and moderately clever a couple times, like Batman's B-list villain clever.
got it.
But not like super genius clever. And all I can think of is like in Morton Joe from Mad Max Fury Road. Like, we know everything we need to know about Morton Joe in the first 5 minutes without a line of fucking dialogue. Because Morton knows how to fucking direct a scene and write a script.
Yeah, well, I mean, from what I can tell, from what you've been saying, and from what I've seen of that movie of of the Batman versus Superman movie, it falls in the classic Zack Snyder sort of he has a few strengths as a director. He's very good at doing interesting visuals and creating
Yes.
individual scenes that are really cool looking and interesting.
Yeah,
And
there is that.
and he can shoot some things, and he can have things be shot in some interesting ways. But he's not very good at basically anything else a director is supposed to be good at.
He's
And he's not helped by the scriptwriter.
the From what I've been able to tell about Zack Snyder is he's really good at short form stuff where you just need the barest sketching of a character, but he
Right.
doesn't understand how to present characters. He's actually very bad at it. And if you go past 5 minutes with him, everything starts to feel soulless and just there till he can get to his next action sequence. And which makes sense considering he got to start directing commercials and music videos. And I think he'd be pretty good I think feature films are not his strength at all. And he's actually kind of terrible at them.
And yet there are people who really love some of the stuff he's done. I mean, I've not seen much of the stuff he's done. But I know a lot of people who really liked what he did with 300.
Sure, and 300 is almost an entirely visual story with very bare bones archetypical characters.
Right.
And it's basically a long action sequence.
Yeah.
And these all play to his strengths.
Right.
And the Watchmen movie, while it has a lot of flaws, is probably as good an adaptation as you're ever going to get of that comic book. Largely because he had the script written out for me. He had a really good script because it was Alan fucking Moore.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. At any rate,
So yeah, that's what that's my rant. How have you been, Peter?
I've been pretty same old, same old. I have not watched anything that has caused me to go on a 40-ish minute rant about about it. Uh,
I'll say this: the movie is at least entertaining. In that, no, it's not. The movie at least gets you talking because you're angry at it and you're mad that you spent time watching it.
I'm just amazed that I'm baffled that you watched it. Honestly, Eric, after everything you said about Man of Steel, I'm just like,
So here's why I watched it, and I
okay,
actually this is what I told my roommate after I went on a rant at him about it.
okay,
Is that basically, for good or ill, Batman versus Superman is shaping up the DC cinematic universe that Warner Brothers is trying and failing to put together.
right,
And I want it to succeed because I like DC. I like the DC universe. I like Green Lantern, and I like Batman when he's done right. I like Superman when he's done right. I like Wonder Woman. I like Martian Manhunter. I like the Flash. These are all really cool things. I
right,
love the sort of incidental absurdity of DC at its best. Like, there's an entire epic storyline about magic rings that form different colors and are powered by emotions. And it's a great storyline, and it's ridiculous, and I love it. It's played totally like, yes, we understand this is absurd, but we love it, and we're going to do it totally straight.
right.
And so I want the DC cinematic universe to succeed. I want it to be good. And I watched it because I was hoping the internet was wrong, which it is occasionally. And that maybe even if it was as bad as it was, maybe there might be something that could be salvaged from it for the future of the DC universe.
Right.
I was wrong. It is going to be dour, sad sacks and murdering psychopaths forever.
Hooray! Yeah, I think I mentioned this to you when we were we talked about this the other night a little bit.
Yes.
Before we did, and I mentioned that I was going through. I've been talking with some friends of ours about. We were talking about movies, and they were asking for recommendations, and I said, okay, well, if you're willing to sit down for more than 3 hours. One of my absolute favorite movies is The Seven Samurai.
Yes.
And I was looking it up. I specifically went to the Wikipedia page so I could actually get the runtime, which is like 3.5 hours. It's a long movie. It's great, but it's long.
Yeah, that is all afternoon, and you're not doing anything. Your ass is going to be numb at the end of it, but it'll be worth it.
And I scrolled down to the end of the Wikipedia article, and there's a section on the legacy of the movie. And, they talked about the various movies that have remade the Seven Samurai, effectively, like The Magnificent Seven, Battle Beyond the Stars. Just a bunch.
The Seven Samurai gets homages left, right, and center.
There's a reason for it. It's a really, really, really good core of a story.
Good.
It's a great movie, and the core story is just a great framing device.
Yes, absolutely.
And at the end of the legacy section was that apparently Zack Snyder has said that the Seven Samurai is going to be was a major influence on how they're doing the Justice League movie.
So what you're saying is half the people die, and we find out everyone is dicks?
So yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, it's probably mostly the because it's Batman who's assembling the team, but Batman going around to individual superheroes and pulling together to form a Justice League,
right?
To form a team, and that's probably going to be the extent of what he means by it's a major influence. But that was my first thought was are half of the Justice all but 3 members of Justice League are going to end up dead, and they will have succeeded in that they will have saved the city or whatever it is they're defending from the evil alien invaders, but they will feel like they've become that they as a group of heroes are becoming increasingly irrelevant. Because that's what happens at the end of the Seventh Samurai.
Yes.
Is the only people who win are the villagers.
Yeah.
The bandits are all dead. All but two or three, I can't remember if it's two or three of the samurai are dead, and they realize that they're looking at the death of their social caste, basically.
Yep.
So what is because if your seventh samurai is really going to be a major influence, you're basically saying yes. The end of the movie is going to point out that superheroes are obsolete and irrelevant.
Yes.
Which honestly would fit entirely into the way Zack Snyder thinks about things, I think.
It's super serial, Mom. Jeez, you just don't get it. That's the other thing. The entire movie feels like a 14-year-old desperately trying to explain that comic books are super serious and they're really edgy and cool, and you just don't get it, Mom.
The most exasperating thing about that is the. I think one of my favorite things about sort of analysis of why comic books are why comic books are a good good medium for telling stories. The forward to the second compilation of Astro City comics, Confession, is written by I can't remember his name all of a sudden. What Sandman.
Neil Gaiman.
Written by Neil Gaiman, and he has this wonderful sort of thing where he waxes rhapsodic about Kurt Busiek's sort of masterful storytelling, because he talks about this wonderful thing where he was in a long car ride with Kurt, and they started riffing on ideas to write a Batman story, and because Gaiman is not a big Batman fan. And
right.
So Busiek was basically riffing on the idea for a Batman story, which is and Gaiman described it as like the weirdest, strangest Batman story he'd ever heard. But it made him actually care about Batman for the first time in like forever. And it was which is a cool idea. I don't know what the actual story is or anything like that. And it's irrelevant. It's you're talking about how Kurt Busiek's good at making you care about his characters. And
yes,
he is. That's one of Busiek's biggest strengths as a writer. That and his ability to tie together disparate storylines into ways that you would never expect them to actually make sense. Looking at you, Marvels.
Yes. Wow.
That is the single most amazing.
I forgot Marvels is him. Yeah.
That is one of the most amazing graphic novels I've ever fucking read, because it takes the
batshit insanity of early Marvel.
It takes all of Marvel's sort of prehistory, running from the introduction of Namor and the original Human Torch and all that shit, up through the death of Gwen Stacy, and tells a cohesive story tying it all together, which should be flatly fucking impossible.
But he does it because the man's got talent.
Yeah. At any rate,
one of the things I really like about it is it just uses this old photographer as the framing device.
Well, it's through the eyes of a photojournalist.
Yes,
and it's great. That's another one of his great gifts is, telling superhero stories from the point of view of the man on the street and making it work.
Yes.
And I mean that's one of the great strengths of Astro City are issues like that. But at any rate, the other thing that Gaiman wrote about, and one thing is he talks about the strength of comic books and just in general about storytelling, and the thing that a story can be about more than what it's about.
Mm.
And he sort of goes back to Campbell, Joseph Campbell, sort of talking about how there are three stories, two stories, boy meets girl and a man learns a lesson. And
right.
Gaiman sort of says you really could throw a third one in there, which is the Little Tailor.
Yep.
And if you take these sort of the opposites of all these, boy loses girl, man fails to learn a lesson, and I forget what the opposite of the Little Tailor is, but you basically get these sort of cores of the majority of stories out there. but that's the other thing about it is like the story of the confession arc is like the on the surface it's about this young man who is coming to terms with who his dad was and becoming a superhero.
Mm.
But it's also about it's his journey to journey through being a sidekick, becoming a hero, a superhero at the end. But it's also about his relationship with his father, and it's also about this and about the sacrifice of someone who is hated, who sacrifices himself to protect others, and that's what's great about comic books is when the writers really do a good job of having their stories be more about more than what they're about.
Yes, absolutely.
Like the like, a classic sort of example of this is early X-Men. You know,
Yes.
which is it's a story about these people who are hated, disliked, who are fighting to being heroics or being heroes. But it's also about the civil rights movement.
Yes.
you know, and it's also
And about like and very much also about like the family dynamics, particularly amongst the family you choose.
right.
Like, and how, yes, I hate you too, Wolverine, but we're basically big brothers to this pack of kids, so we need to take care of each other.
Right.
That's Cyclops and Wolverine. They
Yep.
both recognize it, and they both hate each other, but they put that aside for the greater good of the team. Just like two siblings who hate being around each other, but get shit done for the family.
Right. Duwani in the chat actually asked if either of us have read Superman's Secret Identity, and yes, I have. It's yet another piece of.
I don't think I have.
Oh, I should lend that to you at some point. It's
Okay.
it's Busiek again.
Okay.
Basically, it's a Superman comic book, kind of. It's set on it's basically he stumbled across one of those random sort of alternate world for a long time DC had a bunch of different universes.
Yep.
And on one of these particular Earths, there was this guy. It was basically our Earth with comic books and everything. And there's this guy named Clark Kent who was Superman, and was the only superhuman on the planet. And Busiek looked at that and said, "I want to tell this guy's story." And so it's about this young man named Clark Kent from Smallville. He lives. He's a farm boy. It's Mom and Pa Kent. And like he gets also, and he's just a normal guy, and he's not an alien, as near as we can tell. And he gets all this crap and people joking about the fact that he's Clark Kent and he's Superman because all this stuff. And as when he hits puberty, he develops superpowers. Superman's power set, basically. And
Cool.
it's this sort of ongoing story, and so he keeps running into, and he eventually he moves to the city and gets hired as, he moves to basically Metropolis. In fact, he moves. I think it is Metropolis, and becomes a reporter. But he eventually falls out of being a reporter because it turns out he's a better author than he is a reporter.
Mm.
So he becomes a book. He writes books, and he gets set up on a blind date with this young woman, named Lois,
Of course.
who's of Indian descent. And apparently her name's Lois Lane.
Indian,
Actually,
like from India, or Indian like native peoples?
I think her father's from India. I think it's
Okay.
like her father's from India or something like that, or her mother is. But her name's Lois Lane, and she's fed up with all the jokes about and she's like, they're both infuriated. They've been set up with this blind date because he's been set up with Lois Lane, she's been set up with Clark Kent. because they know all the jokes and they're both sick of them. But of course they fall in love.
Of course.
But it's this wonderful story, and there's all this, the big tension of the story is Clark trying to, because the government is freaked the fuck out by,
But the fact is, they're fucking superhero kicking around.
right,
Because, of course, they would be.
right. So there's a big chunk of them trying to capture him and stuff, and eventually him working out a deal with the guy who's leading the group, going after him to help them out against stuff as long as they leave him and his alone. And using his powers to make sure they can't identify his secret identity by his fingerprints and shit.
Right.
And eventually he has kids, and it turns out they have superpowers also. It's a really, really good story, and a large chunk of it is the, sort of looking at, it's because it's about this guy, this basically normal guy who has powers, who decides to do good. He's Superman. I mean, he is Superman. He's Clark. I mean, but it's a different Superman, and it's a really it's goddamn Busiek can write. Oh,
well,
God.
we knew that.
Yeah. I adore Busiek. Kurt Busiek is definitively my favorite comic book author. It's like not even close. I mean, I respect. There are some other some guys who I respect, like that I know are big. Like Warren Ellis. I respect the crap out of him as a writer.
Yes,
Alan
even though he
Moore.
doesn't know how to end a story.
Hmm? What'd you say, Eric?
Even though he doesn't know how to end a story.
No,
no.
Well, Transmet.
Okay, yeah, Transmet ended pretty much perfectly. Not gonna lie there.
But like most authors can end at least one. End at least one story.
Yeah.
I love Alan Moore. Claremont did some amazing work on the X-Men.
Garth Ennis, when he isn't obsessed with breaking taboos for the sake of breaking taboos.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that, actually. I don't like most of his stuff, but the man can write.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Preacher. It's dated now, but yeah, and it's at its best when it's not making dick jokes for the sake of making dick jokes.
Right.
Or it takes a throwaway gag character like Arseface and imbues him with a significant amount of pathos and humanity and makes him actually pretty damn interesting.
Oh, God. And I'm trying to think of other writers. I'm trying to remember the other writers. Oh, well, yeah, Stan Lee, of course. I mean...
Yep, Stanley.
I'm just... yeah, I mean... And, I will... And,
Stan fucking Lee.
Stan fucking Lee. And, oh, God, I can't remember the guy. I can't remember all
Eisner. Will Eisner.
Well, oh, God, yeah. Well, yeah. Fuck, yeah. Fuck, Eisner's good. Like, if you haven't read Mouse, read Mouse.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm almost positive that it's Eisner. Fuck, Mouse is good. Depressing, but fucking good. And there are bunches.
Oh, there's Brian Vaughan's Saga now too. Holy shit, Saga's good.
I've heard nothing but great things about Saga. I've not read it.
I need to lend you Saga. I have got everything that's been collected so far.
I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Good.
I really like the writing. I like the right from a standpoint of admiring the writing. I think the guy who writes Chew is great. I'm just not a fan of it as from a concept standpoint.
I actually really like Chew.
Oh, I think
it's a guy that learns things by eating stuff, and there are other guys that can learn things by eating stuff, but they're cannibals. That's awesome.
I think it's brilliant, but I don't enjoy it.
It's totally up my alley. Come on, man.
God, of course it's right up your alley, Eric. I'm not even a little bit surprised by that. Oh, the guy who writes Fables is really good too.
Yeah, Fables. The guy who wrote Lock and Key is really good, which I'm rereading right now.
Oh, Gail Simone.
Gail Simone, yes.
Oh my God, she's great. Oh my God, she's great.
Yeah, she's really good. So yeah, there's a lot of talent out there for comic books. It's just Warner Brothers seem to be drawing from the worst of it.
Yes, they've got the guy who said that the reason She-Hulk was created was to, oh, fucking Goyer.
Yeah, fuck that dude. Fuck that dude.
What's the exact quote on She-Hulk? I'm trying to remember what it was.
Something like created just so fanboys have some swank material or something like that.
It's also so like something along the lines of someone for the Hulk to fuck. Also, I think.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like no, don't.
Wow,
Don't.
dude. Wow. Now, to be fair, She-Hulk was created so that someone couldn't nick the idea of She-Hulk up from under them.
Sure. And then they turned her into one of Marvel's best characters.
Yes.
Like, seriously, Jennifer Walters is amazing. She is awesome.
Yeah, she's great. Hell, Hulk when done right is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
You will hear this a lot. Even Venom when done well is really good.
There are very few comic book characters that, when done well, are not good. Like, done as well as possible. There are a couple that I would say are basically unsalvageable. Looking at you, Carnage.
But no, there's a super Carnage now called like Toxin or some shit.
Of course there is.
You think he's the best. You want him all the time. You want him to be your friend. I can tell.
No. I'm not even a fan of Venom. But I respect Venom. I respect Venom as a concept. I just don't enjoy. Haven't enjoyed much of what Venom's been in. Venom's at least sort of interesting, unlike Carnage, who is just unbelievably one note.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill people. Why? Because it's fun.
Hi, I'm a raving psychopathic lunatic.
And I have part of a symbiote that is also a raving psychopathic lunatic. We are best friends.
And, you could take that and actually do something with it, maybe? But they never do.
Right. I mean, you could do what they do in Fate Zero. Spoilers.
Yeah. At any rate. Yeah, I'm.
Yeah, here's the thing. So, speaking of Hulk, I had recently gotten around to reading both Planet Hulk and World War Hulk.
Okay.
World War Hulk is not very interesting at all. It's basically just the Hulk going, grr, I'm mad at you guys. So I brought my friends from Planet Hulk, and I'm going to smash everything and make you fight, because grr, I'm the Hulk.
Okay.
And then Sentry shows up and stops it.
Sorry.
To be fair, there's a lot of Sentry. Could you please come help, guys? I really don't want to go outside right now. Could you please come help? Yeah, but what if what's the other guy's name? Void?
I don't know, but
whatever. What if my opposite ends up taking control? We really need your help, Sentry. But outside is scary. Can't I just watch it on TV?
I will say I will never stop being infuriated by the fact that they actually added Sentry to the official continuity.
Yeah.
Sentry is a wonderful one-off story that really should not be tied into the main continuity, because the whole point of it is that it can't be.
Yes.
And then they did because they fucking hate me. It's like, no, you fucking idiots.
But Planet Hulk, the prelude to this, where Black Bolt and Tony Stark and Doctor Strange and Reed Richards and I think someone else shoot Hulk off into space because he was bad. And because he was bad that one time, they needed to send him into space.
Okay.
Basically, they come to the conclusion that Hulk's too much of a threat, and why they came to this conclusion at this point, not like 50 years ago, I don't know. They shoot him into space with the intention of sending him to an uninhabited but lush planet so that he can just go and be alone. But it goes through a wormhole, which sends him to an inhabited planet with this very sort of John Carter of Mars techno-feudalism thing going on with different species kicking around.
Cool.
And that's basically what it is. It's John Carter of Mars, only instead of John Carter, it's the Hulk. And he's angry and really just wants to be left alone and does not want to fight in your stupid gladiatorial combats and really doesn't want to be your messiah. Why do you think I'm your messiah? Why? Oh, I guess I am your messiah. By accident. Okay, I guess I'll kill everything. Or everything bad. Hey, you know what? This messiah gig isn't so bad. You know, I got an awesome wife. She's gonna have my kid. I have actual friends that accept me for being a giant green rage monster. They think it's cool. This is great. And then the shuttle explodes because it had a bomb on it. This wipes out Hulk's new civilization.
Oh God.
Now he's very angry.
Well, yeah, I don't blame him. Do you?
No, not at all. And that's why we get World War Hulk. And yes, it makes perfect sense. Yes, Hulk would pull all of this shit because he's that angry. Because he was actually at peace with being Hulk. He was having a good time. Things were cool. And you guys fucked it up.
Oh, those bastards.
Yeah. Unfortunately, World War Hulk was not worth the payoff.
That's too bad.
It was just... It wasn't nearly as good as Planet Hulk, is what I'm saying.
All right. I think we should wrap things up here, though. We've been going for a little while.
Yes.
All right. That's going to do it for this week. We do try to save time at the end of each episode for viewer questions. We ran long today. We did have some stuff that I think I want to talk about. Might turn it into a full episode at some point. I don't know. We'll see. But if you do have questions, please email them to us. Our email address is surlygrognards@yahoo.com, surlygrognards@yahoo.com. Or you can post them in the comments section on YouTube, with recordings of the show go up on YouTube. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/mecha-gm, not mecha-gm, sorry. If you've got feedback for us, ways we can make the show better, constructive criticism, etc., we love getting that shit. Please send it to us. Either of those places.
Holy shit, we got that stuff.
And if you've got show topic suggestions, things you want us to talk about, devote an episode to. We really love that stuff because then we don't spend an entire episode just rambling on about Superman.
Yeah, honestly. I don't see a movie that makes me rant every week, so...
Right, yeah, right. So, yeah, please send us show topic suggestions. We really, really love those. Other than that, we record the show Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern here on hitbox.tv/mecha-gm. There's the one with the dash. And we'd like to say thank you to the live audience. You guys are great as always. We love you guys.
We really do.
And think that's going to do it for this week.
I think we're good.
All right, so thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys had fun, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.